All right, on today's episode of Locked On Cavs, it's a solo one. Let's talk about Cavs Hornets. Let's talk about the Jarrett Allen injury. A lot of stuff to get to on this Monday, March 13th episode of Locked On Cavs.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
All right, today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. That is PrizePicks.com. The promo code there is Locked On. All right, I'm Chris Manning here solo today. Evan is not with me. He's got the day. I will be off on Tuesday. Evan will be with Chase Down's Justin Rowan is the plan. So if you guys like that episode, want to acknowledge it, I am. If you're watching on video, on audio, maybe you don't notice anything. I am in a slightly different situation here. Time to time, the next few months, this may happen. Will be normalized at some point in the spring, but apologies. Doesn't look great. It's really pissing me off, if I'm being quite honest. But more importantly, the Cavs beat the Hornets on Sunday night. An interesting game for Cleveland. Big takeaway is just that they got to win, honestly. What matters if you're Cleveland in this situation is getting a win. What matters in this situation is if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you beat the Charlotte Hornets, who are bad. Yes, they came into this having won 7 of 10. Yes, Charlotte came into this game playing harder, but they're down LaMelo Ball. They are down Mark Williams. Kelly Oubre was a late scratch in this game. They're out just a ton of really useful, important players for them. A lot of their good players are not playing. This is a bad team that wants lottery positioning and all that stuff, correct? Like, that is where this team is at. The Cavs, meanwhile, are on the upswing. They are fighting for playoff positioning. They would like to secure a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. They would like to get home court advantage in the first round and give themselves at least a chance to maybe push up 3. Like, these are the goals that they are looking at. And it didn't look like it at first, right? Like, the Hornets won the first quarter 35-25. Cleveland absolutely looked like a team that spent an extra bit of time in South Beach first started this game. The energy level was not there at all. I thought this felt like it was going to be a loss, to be honest with you. This felt like a loss based on the first 3 quarters. You know, they're more even, but still behind in quarters number 2 and number 3. They lose the second quarter by 3, the third quarter by 1. So you're down 14 going into the fourth. Or excuse me, 13 going into the fourth. And actually, I had that a little wrong. So the Cavs win the second quarter by 3. They lose the third quarter by 1. So they're within range in the fourth. But it's not the most inspiring efforts. It is not a performance at the level that you might expect of a team that I think is as good as the Cavs. Some people think of highly of as the Cavs. One of the things is that I think contributes to this is just the fact that I think I may be an older team, a more veteran team, a more polished team, maybe doesn't have this kind of hiccup. Maybe they get out of South Beach a day early. You know, maybe there are these, they just avoid some of this, right? Maybe that just takes care of some of this. But they did push through. This is the 14th or 15th time all year they've come back from 10 down, the second most in the league. Shout out to Bally for that stat. They got really good bench minutes from guys that they always haven't, right? Like, I thought this was the best Ricky Rubio has maybe looked all season. I thought this was a very good Caris LeVert game in a two-way sense. Garland was awesome. Mitchell was pretty good. But they were 2 of 16 from 3 with those guys, and they won. And if you can win a game like that, if you can win it in a situation where you don't play really all that well, and you're kind of looking for options, and you don't have Jarrett Allen, your starting center, who was an all-star last year, and you're just kind of poking around for options, like, I think you should feel pretty happy about winning a game like this. I'm of two minds just on what it means. Number one, on the positive side, I think this is just the reality of an 82-game season. I think when you are in this situation of playing 82 games and the schedule's cramped and you're on the road a lot, and like, you're going to have some of this. You're just going to have moments where, hey, like, this was just a weird loss. You're going to have some moments where this is, you're lucky to get, and that you just know it's a schedule loss. There are moments that's just going to happen. That is I think the reality of being an NBA team and playing the amount of games they do and the schedule they do. Even with really good players, even with the best players, it is impossible to expect them to be great night in and night out and be even night in and night out. We look at the aggregate and evaluate how good these teams are. We look at advanced metrics and their points per game and any kind of numbers you want to look at to kind of say, okay, this is how good we think this team is. This is how good we think player X is. But you're going to have variation. And this is a variation game. This is, you spend a bunch of time in Miami. This is a bad team. Kind of not surprised. And I'm curious to see what the second version of this will look like. If, a day off in Charlotte gives them a chance to catch their breath and relax and they show up looking good. Do they look ahead to the Philly game? I'm curious to see just what the mindset will going to be. On the flip side, the negative would be, look, this team is still growing up. This team needs to learn how to play through some of these games and play through some of this stuff. And I think that is part of this, but it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B to me in that case. Notable, JB Bickerstaff goes with Lamar Stevens. So the Cavs rotation in this one: starters Garland, Mitchell, Okoro, Stevens, Mobley, LeVert, Rubio, Jetty Osmond, Robin Lopez, Karis LeVert play off the bench. Much tighter in the second half with really Rubio and LeVert getting the minutes. That is a 7-man rotation in the second half. That it was tight. It was really locked down as they go down the stretch there. No Osmond, no Lopez. Bickerstaff treated it like a playoff situation. I think that was right. I think you kind of needed this one. I think as much as there's some more games to go and you play Charlotte more and you have other bad teams you play, you just want to win games like this. Particularly the Knicks are on this West Coast trip. They're sliding a little bit. You can put some distance between them and you're probably your most likely chance team you're going to see at 5. And I don't think it is likely the Cavs are going to catch the 76ers, but you at least give yourself a better chance if you can just take care of business here and treating that like a playoff game, not trusting the guys you trust. And we'll talk about the one guy that maybe they don't in segment 3 when I talk about the Allen bit. That's where this Cavs team is at. So I think a win is a win. There's no big schematic things. There's no big thematic things I really look at. But you get a win, you move on, you get Charlotte again, you try to get that win too, and you're happy, I think, to survive a pretty poor effort in the first quarter and just a lack of energy for a lot of the game. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to touch on Game Awards. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at PrizePicks. Look, first-time users can receive a $100 deposit match. So if PrizePicks give you $100, if you deposit $100, PrizePicks give you $100. PrizePicks, if you give $50, PrizePicks gives you $50. All you have to do to play PrizePicks is pick 2 to 5 players, and they will, if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win 10 times your money in any entry. There's no competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. PrizePicks offers projections on any sport you watch. This includes the NBA, NFL, MLB, PGA, WNBA, women's and men's college basketball, NASCAR, tennis, MMA, boxing, and many, many more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that easy, safe, and fast withdrawals. It is currently operational in 30 states and Canada. So download the PrizePicks app today or go to prizepicks.com to play daily fantasy sports. Again, with the promo code Locked On, first-time users receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Again, don't forget that. Enter that promo code Locked On to sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. All right, we're back here, Locked On Cavs. Chris Manning here, solo on this Monday, March 13th. Game Awards. I'm going to go combo here. I'm going to go Karis LeVert and Ricky Rubio, your co-MVPs for this game. Here's why. Karis LeVert, he got the chain, okay? But I think to his credit all year, has really worked to be within what he is and fill a role that he can fit on this team. That is playing hard on defense. That is taking the shots when they present themselves. That is passing. That is competing and putting an effort. That is making defensive plays that I didn't really know he was capable of making. It is not the perfect fit. You would maybe like a more knockdown shooter kind of in that role if you're going to have a kind of a third guard type in your rotation. But he's really competing and doing everything you kind of at least want him to try and do. And I give him a ton of credit for that. He had possessions on Terry Rozier in this game. Shaker had his own, who absolutely has a history of torching the Cavs and did have 27 in this game, where you give credit for holding up as well as he did and at least competing. And I think that is a big plus. I think, we'll see what he looks like in the playoffs. We'll see what all of this looks like. But I would feel like you're at least going to get a LeVert who's going to show up and bust his butt to try and make an impact. As for Rubio, plays about 20 minutes, 4-7 from the field, 0-1 from 3 from the line, and assist. Look, this is the best I feel like he's looked all year. He's clearly ramping up. He had a moment in this game where I can't remember who switched on to him, but he had a Hezzy, got by him, got to the line, got fouled, got in one, got the bucket. He is not doing that 2 weeks ago. He did not have the confidence in his burst to do that a couple weeks ago. This is a step forward for him in how explosive he can be, how he can look with the ball in his hands and as a playmaker. That's a really big deal. The Cavs need Ricky Rubio in their rotation. They need him to be a good version of himself. They need him to be someone that they can depend on and get really good minutes from and do good work and like make shots and make plays and be trusted with the ball in his hands to not just be standing there to move the ball to the guy next to him, right? Rubio is on that path now. I still need to see more. We need to see the sustained. I suspect he still won't play in the back-to-back upcoming this week. They play Tuesday in Charlotte and then Wednesday in Philly. I might just save him for Philly if that's going to be the case because I would rather see him in that environment and see what that looks like. But he looks better. And like these two guys were the spearhead of a Cavs bench. The only two heads of that spear. They're like a two-sided spear. I don't know. Probably a better weapon analogy. I'm not a weapons guy. But those guys actually showed up. They gave you 26 points off the bench combined. They played defense. They hustled. They made plays. You cannot ask much more from those two. So I give them. Let's go to play of the night. Could have given Rubio that play, by the way. But I got three. Number one, Evan Mobley and Isaac Okoro, fourth quarter. Put Terry Rozier in just like a very tight cell and cut him off. This was Okoro on him, doing what he does at the point of attack, really containing. Mobley gets the switch. They contain him and box him up. He commits a turnover. Those two guys, if you have to attack them as a duo, it's going to be really hard to score. And if the team beats you, you tip your cap and you call it a day. But like, they just absolutely had Terry Rozier, Scary Terry himself, kind of in a little bit of a situation there. I wonder if Terry Rozier sleeps those sandwiches he talked about when he got drafted. Okay, so other play of the night pick here. Cavs in the third quarter, 5 minutes to go, run a little set where Evan Mobley sets a back screen for Darius Garland. And this is Donovan Mitchell has the ball at the top of the key. So when the back screen comes on Dennis Smith Jr., Garland cuts to the rim. The big doesn't go with him, so it's just like it look almost like a quarterback, just throwing like a little simple one on the flat for Mitchell to hit him. Really, really just simple, easy pass. Really just kind of an obvious read for him to make in that situation. What I liked about this is just Garland goes on this back cut. Garland is there on this back cut, and it is using him in a different way off ball. It is getting him an easy look, getting him to attack the defense in a different way. You could absolutely run this in the inverse with Garland throwing the pass to Mitchell. There's certainly some explosive alley-oop opportunities I think you could do there. And it's Cleveland adding some more wrinkles. They've done this a couple times. They've tried to do it a couple times as well, and it's gotten snuffed out. So this isn't like a brand new concept they've introduced. But when it hits and you catch the defense napping, it's an easy 2 points. And I just like using Darius Garland in more ways than, hey, run a pick and roll, stand in the corner. Like, it's more dynamic, and that's kind of what you want from a modern, progressive NBA offense. Real heads will also remember that I believe it was the Beeline year, and Bickerstaff was obviously on that staff. They used to do the Delly. This was different than that, but they used to do this play where Delly brings up the ball, Jordan Clarkson back cuts, and they would just feed him, and they got easy layup after easy layup after easy layup on that. And this feels like a successor. That obviously with two better guards. Other play, the Mitchell steal that he has. He had a couple in this game. He's been very active, I think, in this way as a defender, and at least pushing and making some noise in that capacity. This one is in the fourth quarter, 4:16 to go. This is a tight game. This is a moment where you need your best players to make big plays, and this was a big play. He's playing the passing lane pretty smartly. He is sticking with Gordon Hayward. He slums off him, and when the pass that's kind of lazy comes to Hayward, he sticks his arms out, he goes, and he is off to the races, 2 points. Mitchell has been so much more engaged defensively, I think, on ball and hustle. But like this play is like he's sticking with his bigger man. He's being attentive. He sees that the lazy pass from Nick Richards is coming and he can pick it and he's going to get 2 points on the other end. This is just really good stuff from Donovan Mitchell. This is further proof that this guy all year has been engaged on both ends and has been really busting his butt in that capacity. So like just shout out to him. Every time he does this, it's just like I'm sure it's a win for JB Bickerstaff inside. Okay, stat of the night. Cavs had a 13-3 second chance point advantage. Speaks for itself in a tight game. That's a really big deal. And then they had a 25 of 34 from the free throw line. Charlotte was 16 of 22, I believe, from the line. In a game where you didn't play well, you had some shots go in and out. You had some things not totally go your way. Getting that free throw advantage, I think, was a really big deal. Getting that kind of boost for you and getting some free points that way. It's good work if you can get it if you're Cleveland. And if you look at who took the free throws in particular, you know, it's 6 of 11 for Mobley, who got some more calls in this game without Jarrett Allen on the floor. And he had 2 big ones. Darius Garland, I think most notably, was 10 of 13 from the line. Stat line for Garland, by the way, 28, 8 of 20 from the field, 2 of 10 from 3, 10 of 13 from the line, 6 assists. And I'm sure you've seen the clip from that was on Bally. Serena Winters, friend of the pod, asked him what the key was, and Donovan Mitchell walks by Darius Garland in the background. He yells free throws. And he's right. He's right. 10 of 13 free throws as part of a 25 of 34 night for Cleveland is a really big deal. That's free points, and that is Darius Garland being more aggressive. He's putting himself in positions when he's getting downhill, attacking, and he's being present with the ball in his hands when he gets there to get fouled, to get attempts to line. That is what you want from him. This is part of the next evolution of Darius Garland. He's obviously not going to take 13 free throws a night. The team is like when he takes more free throws, the team is better. The offense is better. I firmly believe that. They need him to turn that dial in the playoffs, I think, a little bit more. If this is a thing that's going to happen and they're pushing for him, I'm curious to see what they would say when asked about it. I think that's a really, really big deal. Garland understands the game within the game and the flow of the game at such a high level. And him feeling like he knows when to pick his spots in this is not a surprise to me. But the fact that he's doing it, I think, instead of looking to pass to others sometimes, as great of a passer he is, I think is a big deal. All right, one more break. Talk about Jarrett Allen's injury after that. And also Dean Wade's conspicuous, not so conspicuous, really. It's not too dramatic. Absence from the rotation. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar out there. I mean, and how could you not love Built Bar? They have amazing macros. Most bars have like 17 grams of protein, 130 calories, only 4 grams of sugar. They come in amazing flavors. You know, they have mint puffs right now. They have cookie dough puffs. They've had cookie dough chunk puff bars in the past. They have all these kinds of great flavors. Mint brownie, grasshopper cookie that they've had, cookies and cream. They had a vanilla drop recently. They're all bangers, all 10 out of 10, all deserving of an Oscar. And you can't really, they're just easy. They're an easy snack. If you want a little bit of protein before you go work out in the morning, grab a Built Bar. If you need a mid-afternoon pick-me-up while you're trying to eat healthier this year, grab a Built Bar. You're not really going to regret it. And you can get them at new locations now. You get them at Walmart, where you can get different 4-bar boxes of chocolate and cookies and cream and other flavors, and that is in the pharmacy section. And at Sam's Club, you can get a 13-bar box with churro and brownie batter puffs. Can't really beat that. Shout out to Built Bar, a longtime sponsor of the show. You can still order your bars at Built.com, but you can also get them at Walmart or Sam's Club today. Go check them out. Get a little protein snack in your diet. All right, last segment. Chris Manning here. No Evan Damrold today. So two last things today. Jarrett Allen is where we'll start. Jarrett Allen was listed as doubtful and did not play in this game. He obviously suffered that eye contusion against the Miami Heat that had ruled him out for the rest of that game, late in that game, and he's here now. The injury, he's not wearing like an eye patch or anything. The team announced that he had undergone testing Friday and Saturday, and there was no structural damage. That's a really big deal. And it's not good to not have him, right? You would rather have Jarrett Allen than not have Jarrett Allen because he's a rim protector. He's a good dunk threat. He's much, much better than Robin Lopez, who obviously saw some first half minutes and then didn't play because it wasn't working. And he obviously got hurt last year. And if you're a Cavs fan, I can understand having like some flashbacks, some horror, some nightmares to the fact that last year he fractured his finger, and that was a big reason why the Cavs really tumbled and went into the play-in and weren't the same team when they got into the play-in. That was a really big deal. I just don't think that the Cavs are exactly in that same spot this year, and it's because of Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is equipped to do more right now. Evan Mobley is ready to do more. Allen, you will miss him. You'll have to play smaller. You will have to, hopefully you get some good shooting nets from guys. You're going to maybe have to try Dean Wade again and hope that he can give you more than he has. But you're in a spot with Evan Mobley where he is going to be able to handle so much of this, where he is going to be able to handle a lot of some of the issues that you have as far as not having Jarrett Allen right now. You can put him in at the 5. He's going to rim protect. He will, switch. He'll do all that stuff. The big concern game would be Philly. If Jarrett's not good to go then, and look, we don't know if Jarrett's going to play Tuesday. He could play Tuesday. He could play Wednesday. He might miss both those games. Who knows right now? But with where the Cavs are at, where Mobley is at, they're going to be okay. This is not a sky is falling injury. It's not as going to keep him out as long as the fractured finger did either. I don't think that is not the indication we're going to get. I think we'll get pretty regular updates here. This is just not nearly as big of a deal as it was a year ago to miss Jarrett Allen. I don't think Allen's been quite as good this year, to be honest. There are a lot of reasons for that. We can talk about that on another episode. We probably should. I think Mobley's better than him now. I think we're there. But you will miss him. But is it a sky is falling thing? I hope he gets well. Maybe the Cavs could just stop getting players hit in the face. That would be nice. I'm sure Darius Garland and Jarrett Allen and JB Bickerstaff and everyone would sign change.org petition now to be stop hitting the Cavs in the face, please. Okay, we'd not like to get hit in the face anymore. But this is not going to crater their top, the ability to hold on to the top 4. I just don't believe that to be true. Lastly, Dean Wade. Dean Wade's out of the rotation again on a night where there's no Jarrett Allen. He doesn't play. They go to Robin Lopez. They go to Jetty Osman. They are in this situation where Dean Wade is just out of it right now. Dean Wade is not in play in the rotation right now. And with that should tell you something. I understand you being on Twitter or watching this game, commenting on this video, tweeting, sending us emails or whatever your form of Cavs dialogue is, talking to your friends, calling into our friends at 92.3, whatever. And being they need to just play shooting. They need to try Dean Wade. They need what he gives. JB Bickerstaff's a smart guy. He knows that. He's very aware of that. The coaching staff knows that. It should tell you something. That right now, with Jarrett Allen out and just a need for shooting, that they don't trust him. I get you need to rehabilitate him. I get you signed this extension. He's someone you're probably going to have on the roster next year unless you trade him. And he's a useful piece. There are things that he does that are very, very useful to you and are very important and are a modern NBA forward. But with how he played since the Kevin Love stuff went down and how all of that went, you get here. And if you're fighting for play and you're trying to maximize every little margin and you're trying to be in a good spot and you're trying to just put out lineups that function and get you through a game and win a game, maybe you don't feel like you could risk the 8 minutes of Dean Wade. I maybe would say you could do it against Charlotte. You certainly could have tried it in the first half when you weren't playing well enough, but I get how you get there. I get the in a vacuum, the fit of Dean Wade and what he could offer you. But boy, it has not been there of late, and I get them not playing it, but to be quite honest, I get it. It's not great that he's there. You certainly would just like to be better. You certainly like to give him a chance to play through it. But I also just get being hey, not now. Too late in the year. We got stuff to play for. Lamar, up. Jetty, up. Dean, sorry. We gave you a shot. It didn't work. At any point. We'll see. All right, but thanks again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen every day. This episode was produced by Jake Stevens. Check out The Mayor on Spotify, Apple Music. Check out Game to Game on NBA Now from Locked On. Check out all your Locked On podcasts. I'm Chris Manning. Evan will be back with you tomorrow. I'll talk to you on Wednesday.